Hello there, very good evening and welcome to the news tonight. In the next 30 minutes, I'll be getting you through the day's top stories, starting with the headlines. Allahabad High Court today gives Rajesh and Nupur Talwar the benefit of doubt in the Arushi murder case, overturns the 2013 trial court ruling and acquits them of all charges. Single-phase assembly elections for the 68 seats in Himachal Pradesh to take place on the 9th of November. Counting of votes will be held on the 18th of December. President Ramnath Kovind presides over the two-day Governors' Conference in New Delhi, says the period between 2017 to 2022 will be devoted to building a new India, which will have no room for corruption, poverty, illiteracy and uncleanliness. Retail inflation for September slips to 3.28% compared to 3.36% in August. Industrial production makes a remarkable comeback to touch 4.3% after growing just 1.2% in August. And the war of words between North Korea and the United States takes a new turn. North Korea's foreign minister accuses Donald Trump of having lit the wick of a war between both countries. Top story this evening, the Allahabad High Court acquitted Rajesh and Nupur Talwar of killing their daughter Arushi and domestic help Hemraj in 2008. The High Court overturned the 2013 trial court ruling, giving the Talwars the benefit of doubt. The couple were awarded life sentence by a special CBI court in Ghaziabad on the 26th of November in 2013. The Talwars are likely to be released from jail on Friday.
The Allahabad High Court on Thursday pronounced both Rajesh and Nupur Talwar not guilty in the double murder case of their teenage daughter Arushi and their domestic help Hemraj in 2008. The court also ordered their immediate release. The court said the evidence against Arushi's parents was circumstantial. It also added that the CBI failed to prove beyond reasonable doubt that the Talwars killed Arushi and Hemraj. The court cited various shortcomings in the lower court's judgment in its verdict. The Talwars were also acquitted of the charge of destruction of evidence with common intent.
हमारे क्लाइंट्स को ऑनरेबल डिवीजन बेंच ने बरी किया है। जो इल्जामात लगाए गए थे वो गलत पाए गए हैं, बेबुनियाद पाए गए हैं। ट्रायल कोर्ट के जजमेंट को सरासर खारिज कर दिया गया है और हमारे दोनों क्लाइंट्स जो है बरी हुए हैं। हम उम्मीद करते हैं कि कल दोपहर में वो जेल से बाहर आएंगे।
उनको भी जानकारी समाचार माध्यमों से उनको भी जानकारी मिल चुकी है कि उनको माननीय उच्च न्यायालय द्वारा बरी कर दिया गया है और उनमें अब जो है बिल्कुल वो लोग खुश हैं, संतुष्ट हैं। उनका कहना है कि भाई हमको अब इंसाफ मिला।
Meanwhile, the counsel of Rajkumar, the domestic help in Talwar's house, said they will take the matter to the Supreme Court.
अभी हाई कोर्ट का फैसला है, आगे भी सुप्रीम कोर्ट भी बाकी है, तो इसमें चूंकि ये मामला बड़ा ही हाईलाइट मामला है और इसमें अगर हाई कोर्ट ने फैसला सुनाया है तो निश्चित रूप से हाई कोर्ट के फैसले के खिलाफ इस मामले में सुप्रीम कोर्ट जाया जाएगा, क्योंकि लड़ाई गरीबों की है। गरीबों को न्याय मिले उन पर किसी, क्योंकि इसमें केवल आरुषि की हत्या नहीं हुई है। मैं बताना चाहूंगा इसमें हेमराज का मर्डर हुआ था और हेमराज की फैमिली बहुत ही पुअर फैमिली है।
A special CBI court sentenced the couple to life imprisonment in Ghaziabad in November 2013. Arushi was found dead inside her room in the Talwar's Noida residence with her throat slit in May 2008. The body of Hemraj, who was the domestic help of the family, was found the next day on the terrace. Bureau Report, Rajya Sabha Television.
In another one of our headline stories, assembly elections for the 68 seats in Himachal Pradesh will take place on November 9th in a single phase. This was announced by the Chief Election Commissioner A.K. Jyoti today. Counting for the votes will take place on the 18th of December. VVPAT machines will be used in all 7,521 polling booths, in which over 49 lakh electors will cast their votes. With the EC's announcement, the Election Code of Conduct has come into immediate effect in the state as well as for the union government in matters related to the state. Chief Election Commissioner A.K. Jyoti also said that the polls in Gujarat will be held before 18th of December so that results of the Himachal Pradesh have no impact on them. Dates of the elections in Gujarat will be declared a little later.
Date of issue of gazette notification is 16th October, Monday. And next one is last date of filing of nominations is 23rd October 2017, which is again Monday. Date for scrutiny of nominations will be 24th October 2017. Last date for withdrawal of candidature is 26th October 2017. The date of polling would be 9th November 2017, Thursday. And the date of counting of the polling result would be on 18th December 2017, that is Monday.
India's retail inflation cooled to 3.28% in September as food prices continue to remain soft for the month. Meanwhile, bringing some cheer to the economy, the factory output expanded to 9-month high of 4.3% in August. Here are all the details.
Retail inflation measured by the Consumer Price Index for September slipped to 3.28% as against 3.36% in August. The CPI food inflation fell to 1.25% in September from 1.52% in August. CPI rural inflation went down from 3.22% in August to 3.15% in September, while urban inflation went up from 3.35% in August to 3.44% in September. Industrial production, which grew at just 1.2% in July on account of a dismal show by the manufacturing sector, made a remarkable comeback to touch 4.3%. Mining sector grew 9.4% in August as compared to 4.8% in July, while manufacturing grew 3.1% compared to 0.1% in the previous month. The electricity sector also rose 8.3% compared to 6.5% in August. At its monetary policy review meet last week, the Reserve Bank kept the repo rate unchanged to 6%. The central bank kept the policy stance neutral with the objective of limiting inflation at 4% within a band of plus or minus 2% while supporting growth. The lower inflation may now put pressure on the RBI to cut rates in its next monetary policy meet. Kriti Mishra's report for Rajya Sabha TV.
An army jawan and a civilian porter were killed in Pakistani firing on Thursday at forward areas along the line of control in Jammu and Kashmir's Poonch district. According to sources, the Pakistanis used mortars, automatics and small arms to target the Indian positions in Krishna Ghati sector along the LOC. On the 6th of October, Pakistani troops had opened fire in Baba Khori and other areas in Rajouri district. And on the 4th of October, 3 army jawans were injured in unprovoked and indiscriminate firing in Poonch sector. The year 2017 has seen a sharp increase in ceasefire violations by Pakistan. In other news, President Ramnath Kovind today said that governors are a bridge between the centre and the states in cooperative federalism. Addressing the 2-day conference of governors at Rashtrapati Bhavan, President Kovind stressed on the need for a new India by 2022 that will have no place for corruption, poverty and illiteracy. The theme of the opening session was New India 2022. The President said in today's digital era, people expect public services to be simple, transparent and have appropriate provisions for accountability. He called for embracing new technology and innovation to adapt to the changing global scenario. The President further said that it is essential to link youth with nation building. He said the future of the country depends on the capacities, moral values and compassion of the younger generation. Vice President M. Venkaiah Naidu, Prime Minister Narendra Modi and Home Minister Rajnath Singh were also present on the occasion. 27 governors, 3 lieutenant governors of states and union territories are attending the conference.
अपने राज्यों में विधायिका का अहम अंग होने के नाते विधायकों के साथ संवाद स्थापित करके आप अपने राज्य के विकास को नए आयाम दे सकते हैं। राजभवन में उन्हें वर्ष में कम से कम एक बार बुलाकर विस्तृत संवाद करना चाहिए। मुझे आशा है कि इस सम्मेलन में केंद्र और राज्य मिलकर देशवासियों के हित में विशेषकर युवाओं के भविष्य के लिए एक मत होकर दिशा तय करेंगे। इस तरह पूरे देश को विकास की दिशा में एक साथ लेकर चलने का मार्ग प्रशस्त होगा।
Finance Minister Arun Jaitley today said that the Indian government is working on a plan to rebuild the capacity of the banking sector so that it could support growth. Jaitley, who is on a week-long visit to the US to attend the annual meetings of the International Monetary Fund and the World Bank, also said that reforming the banking system is the top agenda of the government. The finance minister also said that the issue of bringing real estate under the GST's ambit will be discussed in the GST Council next month. Meanwhile, Power Minister R.K. Singh said on Thursday that India has cut down its carbon footprint substantially with the help of technology in fossil fuel plants and rapid transition to renewables. Singh also said that India has been at the forefront of developing institutional mechanism and framework for climate change and has initiated a plan of action to achieve the goals of India's intended nationally determined contributions.
Yes, that we are going to grow at the same rate as we wanted to, and at the same time we are going to reduce our carbon footprint. Now I invite other countries to do the same. Many countries are already doing it, but those who are not doing it, I invite them to do the same.
And now let's take you through a roundup of more updates from across the country in Nationwide. A special CBI court has issued non-bailable warrants against 3 European middlemen in connection with the Augusta West and VVIP Choppers deal case. Earlier on Wednesday, the court also served summons on the others accused, including former Indian Air Force Chief S.P. Tyagi. The middlemen are Carlos F. Gerosa, Christian Michel and Guido Haschke. Sri Lankan Navy today arrested 5 Indian fishermen when they were allegedly fishing in their territorial waters. A Lankan Navy spokesperson said that the arrest was made off Mannar Basin. The fishermen have been handed over to the Fisheries Department in Jaffna for onward legal action. With the latest arrests, the total number of Indian fishermen in Sri Lankan custody has gone up to 47. Vice President M. Venkaiah Naidu today met Andhra Pradesh Hindi Academy Chairman Professor Y. Lakshmi Prasad. Prasad is a former Rajya Sabha member. He was honoured for his writing with the Sahitya Academy Award and the Padma Bhushan Award. Professor Lakshmi Prasad's wife and his daughter and son-in-law were also present at the meeting with the Vice President. Madras High Court held a hearing in the privilege issue concerning 21 DMK MLAs. Earlier on the 19th of July, the Assembly Privileges Committee had issued notices to the MLAs, including the Leader of Opposition M.K. Stalin, for bringing banned gutka products in the House. The Supreme Court has indicated it might recognize the execution of living will in cases of passive euthanasia as right to die peacefully is part of a fundamental right to life under Article 21 of the Constitution. The Apex Court, however, said that implementation of a living will would be subject to medical certification that the patient's comatose state is irreversible. International news: and accusing UNESCO of an anti-Israel bias, the US said that it is pulling out of the UN's cultural organization. The agency is known for designating World Heritage Sites like Syria's Palmyra and the US Grand Canyon. The State Department said that it will establish an observer mission at the Paris-based organization to replace its representation. UNESCO called the US withdrawal a loss to the UN family and to multilateralism. In 2011, the US had actually cancelled its budget contribution to UNESCO to protest at its decision to grant full membership to the Palestinians. Media reports say the US withdrawal is motivated by a desire to save money. US President Donald Trump has criticized what he sees as a disproportionate contribution by the US to UN institutions. The US funds 22% of the UN's regular budget. Meanwhile, the war of words between North Korea and the United States took a new turn today, with North Korea's foreign minister accusing Donald Trump of having lit the wick of a war between both countries. The US president asserted that the problem of North Korea has reached a point where something has to be done.
US President Donald Trump has lit the wick of war. North Korean Foreign Minister Ri Yong-ho was quoted saying this by a Russian state news agency on Wednesday. Ri called Donald Trump's September speech to the United Nations General Assembly in New York a tipping point. It was followed by weeks of escalating tensions between North Korea and the United States. Russian agency TASS quoted Ri as saying that by his bellicose and insane statement in the UN arena, Trump, it can be said, lit the wick of the war against us. We need to settle the final score
only with a hail of fire, not words. The North Korean foreign minister also echoed previous warnings to the US by leader Kim Jong-un. He said the United States should act sensibly and stop touching North Korea if they do not want to disgrace themselves in the face of the whole world. The North Korean forces will not leave America, the aggressor state, unpunished. During his remarks at the UN last month, Trump threatened to totally destroy North Korea, while also mocking the country's leader, calling him Rocket Man. On Wednesday, during an appearance with Canadian Prime Minister Justin Trudeau at the White House, Trump said that while he listens to others around him, he has a tougher attitude when it comes to North Korea.
I think I have a little bit different attitude on North Korea than other people might have. And I listen to everybody, but ultimately my attitude is the one that matters, isn't it? That's the way it works. That's the way the system is. But I think I might have a somewhat different attitude and a different way than other people. I think perhaps I feel stronger and tougher on that subject than other people. But I listen to everybody, and ultimately I will do what's right for the United States and really what's right for the world, because that's really a world problem. That's beyond just the United States. That's a world problem, and it's a problem that has to be solved.
He also confirmed that he had North Korea on mind last week when he described a gathering of military leaders as the calm before the storm.
Something has to be done. We can't allow this to happen. Now, China's been very helpful, I think, you know, who knows? They seem to be very helpful. They cut off banking to North Korea. That's something they've never done before. They've cut down, way down on the fuel, a lot of other things. We're going to see what happens. But we cannot allow this to happen. This should have been taken care of long ago.
Tensions between North Korea and the United States are at an all-time high, with Pyongyang launching a flurry of missiles and conducting its sixth and most powerful nuclear test last month. Bureau Report, Rajya Sabha TV.
In fact, on to news about the North American Free Trade Agreement, and Canadian Prime Minister Justin Trudeau headed to Mexico on Thursday as tensions between leaders involved in the renegotiation grows. Trudeau will be meeting with Mexican President Enrique Peña Nieto to discuss the agreement a day after speaking with US President Donald Trump. Trump said on Wednesday that tough negotiations were ahead on NAFTA, but a deal was possible.
I don't think anything changed. We're negotiating a NAFTA deal. It's time after all of these years, and we'll see what happens. It's possible we won't be able to make a deal, and it's possible that we will. We have a great personal relationship, and we have a relationship now as two countries, I think that's as close as ever. But we'll see if we can do the kind of changes that we need. We have to protect our workers, and in fairness, the Prime Minister wants to protect Canada and his people also. So we'll see what happens with NAFTA. But I've been opposed to NAFTA for a long time in terms of the fairness of NAFTA. I said we'll renegotiate. And I mean, I think Justin understands this. If we can't make a deal, it'll be terminated, and that'll be fun. They're going to do well, we're going to do well. But maybe that won't be necessary. But it has to be fair to both countries.
My optimism towards NAFTA, towards a renegotiation, isn't based on personality or reading political tea leaves. My optimism is based on the fact that I know how good NAFTA has been for millions of citizens of Canada, of the United States, and indeed for New Mexico.
At least 37 people have been killed as floods and landslides hit Vietnam. The death toll is one of the highest ever recorded in the country that was caused by flooding. Authorities say another 40 people are missing and thousands have been evacuated from their homes. At least 16,000 homes have been submerged in the floods triggered by heavy rains that lashed large swathes of the country this week. The northern Yen Bai and Hoa Binh provinces have been hit the worst, with widespread inundation and deadly landslides. Hundreds of soldiers and militia have been deployed for rescue efforts. Weather officials have warned that the tropical depression may intensify into a more powerful storm in coming days. Meanwhile, the political storm in Spain is deepening, with Spanish Foreign Minister hinting at fresh elections for Catalonia after invoking Section 155 that will suspend the regional autonomy of Catalonia. This comes a day after Spain's Prime Minister Mariano Rajoy gave Catalan leader Puigdemont 5 days to confirm whether he declared independence or not. Meanwhile, tension is growing between the supporters of both the camps. Here's a report. Spain putting up a brave face of unity on their National Day parade, even as their government is locked in a bitter war with Catalonia over its moves to declare independence. Spaniards gathered on the streets of Madrid carrying national flags as the King of Spain, Felipe VI, and his family presided over the parade. The parade comes on the day Spain's foreign minister said that fresh elections in Catalonia are a possibility, as invoking Article 155 would suspend Catalonia's autonomy.
Est-ce que cet article 155 prévoit de nouvelles élections en Catalogne?
C'est une possibilité, on peut imaginer ça. Il y a un parti citoyen, Ciudadanos, citoyens, qui veulent précisément ça. Mais comme je vous dis, il y a toute une panoplie de mesures qu'on peut appliquer.
This a day after Spanish Prime Minister sounded a stern warning to Catalonia's leader Carles Puigdemont, giving him a 5-day deadline to confirm if he declared independence, failing which Section 155 would be invoked.
En caso de que la respuesta sea afirmativa o que no haya respuesta, se le requerirá al señor Puigdemont para que ordene la revocación de dicha declaración de independencia.
Reacting to Spain's warning, Catalan Parliament Speaker Carme Forcadell said that Spain's political crisis will deepen if Madrid suspends Catalonia's regional autonomy.
Bueno, yo lo que quiero decir es que el 155 produciría un efecto contrario al que pretende el gobierno español, porque, como he dicho, la represión no ha servido para parar este proceso democrático. Por tanto, entiendo que...
Meanwhile, in Barcelona, pro-Spanish unity and pro-Catalan independence supporters got into a scuffle on the fringes of a unity demonstration. The political crisis reached its crescendo on Tuesday when Catalan President Carles Puigdemont declared independence and immediately suspended it, calling for talks with Madrid. The Catalonian president quoted the results of the October 1st referendum in favor of Catalonia's independence during his key speech in Parliament. Bureau Report, Rajya Sabha TV. Meanwhile, massive wildfires sweeping through California have killed at least 23 people now and damaged thousands of homes, businesses and other buildings. With mandatory evacuation orders still in place, thousands of residents in the affected areas have been warned not to return to their homes until further notice. Here's a report. This is the Sonoma County town of Santa Rosa, the largest city in the wine country region, almost entirely decimated by one of the fiercest blazes in California. Aerial footage shows block after block of some neighborhoods obliterated with nothing left.
The homes here, are all beautiful homes, and now you look around, you see nothing but charred.
Local authorities in Napa County issued a new order on Wednesday for all residents to evacuate as the wildfires continue to set their homes ablaze. There are more than 200 wineries in Napa Valley, some of which did not escape the flames.
The vineyard team, the winemaking team showed up and used all the water we had on the property, the hoses, and basically tried to get everything wet, hosed down, tried to fight the flames as best they could, but they just got overtaken and they retreated.
Through Wednesday night, firefighters battled to halt the advance of wildfires. Authorities say the wind, known as the Diablo, is picking up again. The air is dry, there's no rain in sight, and the killer wildfires that have scorched the wine country of Northern California remain almost completely uncontained. Officials have warned that some of the big fires could merge, while thousands have been told to evacuate or prepare to leave their homes.
Big fires in the past, this is one of the biggest, the most serious, and it's not over.
Over 25,000 people have been evacuated so far, and the numbers are set to rise. At least 3,500 homes and businesses and nearly 170,000 acres of land have been destroyed by the 22 blazes so far. The National Interagency Fire Center claims at least 8,000 firefighters and support personnel and 124 aircraft are battling the fires. With firefighters stretched thin throughout the state, federal agencies as well as neighboring Nevada and nearby Washington state are assisting with resources. Authorities said 1,000 fire departments from San Diego to Oregon were assisting with the evacuations. Bureau Report, Rajya Sabha TV. And here are some more updates from across the world in Global Buzz. Pakistan's embattled Finance Minister Ishaq Dar on Thursday appeared before an anti-corruption court to face trial in the Panama Papers scandal. The case about owning assets beyond known means of income is among 4 graft cases filed by the National Accountability Bureau against Dar. Meanwhile, Nawaz Sharif's sons have been granted 30 days to appear before the Islamabad Accountability Court, failing which they will be declared proclaimed offenders. A suicide bomber struck a cafe in Iraqi city of Hit, in which at least 11 people were killed. The city's security bureau said that 15 other people were wounded in the blast. Iraqi security forces are battling Islamic State militants in the far western edge of the largely desert province. Hit is about 160 kilometers behind the front line. In Syria, 2 people were killed and 10 others wounded when 3 suicide bombers blew themselves up near a police department in Damascus. The Syrian Interior Ministry said that the 2 attackers attempted to enter the police department and clash with security guards before blowing themselves up. Police later found a 3rd attacker who had escaped near the entrance of a Damascus market. And here are some updates from the world of sports in SportsBeat. Left-arm pacer Ashish Nehra has decided to retire from competitive cricket after the first T20 international against New Zealand at his home ground Firozshah Kotla. Nehra announced his decision at a press conference in Hyderabad ahead of India's 3rd T20 against Australia. According to a senior BCCI official, Nehra intimated his decision to chief coach Ravi Shastri and skipper Virat Kohli. India has confirmed their place in the AFC Asian Cup UAE 2019 after defeating Macau at the Sri Kantirava Stadium in Bengaluru on Wednesday. India defeated Macau 4-1. Raulin Borges opened the scoring for India while skipper Sunil Chhetri restored the lead. For Macau, Nicholas Tharao scored the first goal. Macau conceded an own goal through defender Lam Seng in the 70th minute. The 4th goal was scored by JJ Lalpeklua in the extra time. In tennis, world number 2 Roger Federer beat Argentina's Diego Schwartzman to enter the 3rd round of the Shanghai Masters on Wednesday. Both players exchanged breaks of serve in the first set, but Federer went on to beat Schwartzman 7-6, 6-4. The victory was Federer's 40th of the season. His record for the campaign stands at 40 for 4. Federer will face Alexander Dolgopolov in the next round. In another Shanghai Masters match, Spain's world number 1 Rafael Nadal beat American Jared Donaldson on Wednesday. Nadal beat him by 6-2, 6-1 and did not face a break point as he raced to victory. Nadal will next face Italy's Fabio Fognini in the next round. And finally, several people made their way to the north and south block of the Central Secretariat building in New Delhi on Thursday to witness a dynamic lighting system. The inauguration ceremony was held on Wednesday and attended by Prime Minister Modi, Defence Minister Nirmala Sitharaman, Interior Minister Rajnath Singh and also other ministers. As we say goodbye here on the news tonight, we're leaving you now with these visuals.